Dude, Luke, the printer's still busted. What the fuck, man?
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to episode 48 of the Topless Robot podcast. My name is Ryan.
I'm Brooks.
I'm Dan.
I'm disappointed.
And
Butterbean.
It's it feels weird to be doing the podcast because we did the podcast on a Friday night over Game On, so now we're like back on schedule.
Yeah, back on schedule-ish.
Yeah.
I made
Our podcast muscles have atrophied.
Yeah, right.
Because we had more time between.
I feel like Christian Bale during the Machinist.
The Machinist?
Machinist. I keep calling it the Machinist because that's what I read it as.
You know, that's what Christian Bale goes on an 11-year journey to become the greatest barista. I will make the world's
I
most
read it as the Machinist.
macchiato.
I've never heard it actually said to me, so I read Machinist.
Ever.
Tyler, is that film a biopic?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Thank you very much, Ryan. Thank you for pointing out how great I am at diction.
It's what I'm here for. It's just literally what I'm here for.
To pat me on the back?
That's a word for it.
Be my real dad?
Be my support.
Pat you on the back with knives. Yeah.
Be the buttress to my cathedral.
You said butt.
Be the parapet to my fortress.
Oh, Lord.
We're back, baby.
God damn.
Woo, it's like we never left.
So
Like Ryan's kept us in a closet for the last week. We
Just
haven't
you.
get out or eat or even.
We get to hang out in the employee lounge.
yeah.
That's the basement, Brooks. Like, I hate to break it to you. He's just locked you in a closet down in the basement.
There's a couch down there.
A couple of them.
Yeah.
So this week has seen the return of a couple of great nostalgic properties.
And it has also been a week.
I haven't said that in like a month. It's been a week. It's been a month. God damn it. Rocko's Modern Life.
Yeah.
And Invader Zim Enter the Florpus. Both dropped on Netflix this week. I haven't watched Rocko's Modern Life. I've actually heard kind of mixed reviews about it. Like that it's too meta.
Oh.
But I watched Invader Zim Enter the Florpus this morning, and it is outstanding.
I'm very excited. I need to. I've seen those. They're on my watch list. I'm ready to watch them, but I have not yet.
Also,
I've been in LA.
For those who are big fans of like crime series or serial killer dramas or true crime and whatnot, will remember Mindhunter, which was a really great Netflix original. The first season revolved mostly around the co-ed killer Ed Kemper, and some other notable appearances, but mostly it's about the creation of the study of behavior within the FBI. And
The science behind serial killers.
oh my God. If our listeners don't kill you, I will. Because that doesn't hit the mic very well.
Doesn't hit my eardrums very well.
Yeah, that too. But season 2 came out this past week.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Season 2 focuses on the Charles Manson and the murders of black children in Atlanta from the late 70s to early 80s, which was a huge like civil rights thing at the time. Like it was, everyone was no one was taking it seriously. There were like 29 11-year-old black
was
kids
on purpose, I'm sorry.
who were kidnapped and killed in Atlanta in the late 70s and early 80s. And I don't know the full story about it, but obviously, from watching a series, you get you start looking stuff up, and it's like, oh, I wonder if this is really how this was, or this is how this was.
You
And
go on those Wikipedia rabbit holes. That
Yeah,
just drag
right.
you deeper and deeper and deeper until all of a sudden you look up and it's 5 a.m. and you're like, I have work in the morning, and then you just feel disappointed in yourself. But you've learned a lot, and they've been on a nice
Tyler,
journey.
I think you're gonna need to cool it on the Aperol spritzes.
but
I
from
need to count how many times I've heard you say Aperol Spritz.
Twice.
Oh, shut up.
But yeah, from what I've read, they did a very good job of portraying the investigation of this and stuff like that. It's a really good series, a really, really good series.
I want to watch it because I've professed my interest in the serial killer stuff before. Oh, I thought you were
Man, you are Pavloved.
just in case for all the
Readers, all the people
I'm
reading these words.
For all the readers on our WordPress page,
I just drove 6 hours from LA. I'm tired.
I thought you said you were
But
Tyler.
Ryan reached for his beer, and it's dangerously like in the same area
There's
as
a
the
foot
spray
between
bottle.
the spray bottle and the beer. Let's be clear here.
You're from my perspective, the Jedi are evil, and also you could have reached either way.
Fucking God damn it.
What?
From my perspective, the Jedi are evil. Meh.
I can't say from my perspective without ending it with that prequel. I can't. And now I'm all completely sidetracked. I don't know what I was trying to say. I'm sorry.
So, yeah,
Mine
all of that stuff is good and binge worthy because I seriously watched it all within the past 2 days. Because weekends are when I sleep and watch things and try and catch up on what the rest of the world is talking about. So, worth it. Worth the time.
There, speaking of series and news and cool stuff, there was actually a lot of interesting news from something that I've been following with
Lake
great
Wobegon.
interest. Wheel of Time.
Yes, I've heard about this.
For everyone who actually cares, which I have a feeling not a lot.
At this point, not many. Like they missed a lot of opportunities with that series.
In terms of
It was
Being
at its height of
desirable to
popularity
read.
a long time ago.
in the series
Far
defense,
back on the Wheel of Time.
in
Like,
the series
my-
defense, the author,
my mom
kinda
loves those books.
died in
Right.
the middle of writing it.
That has nothing to do with one's capability of turning it into a series. It's been optioned for as long as it's been popular.
Yeah, it's also a very difficult thing to option and to create into something.
It was optioned for so long that it was about to expire. Remember, we've talked about this
Yep.
on the podcast before, and so
Good
they
old
bought
Eagle Mount, or
airtime
Red Eagle
to
Entertainment.
created a fucking terrible bullshit series and aired it in an infomercial spot.
It was 30 minutes. It was just the prologue of Wheel of Time, word for word. They did not actually write a script. It was just, and Billy Zane was Ishmael, and it was brilliant. I loved
And
it. It was
You
the
mean
best
Billy
thing.
Zane of Phantom fame?
I was thinking of Titanic fame.
Obviously.
But yeah, the way these rights work is you have to do something with the rights that you hold within a certain amount of time. Otherwise, the rights revert to the original owner.
Right.
And the people who had been sitting on those rights for
Red
so
Eagle
long
Entertainment.
decided that in order to save their lapse of the rights, they would buy an infomercial spot and shoot the lowest budget 30-minute bullshit that they could and put it out. And I don't remember how that ended because they were trying to make an argument for that not counting, like that not being legitimate.
I don't know exactly how the whole legal process went, but Red Eagle's technically still attached to this new project, but only in name. They're not actually being used. And it was something to do with how that happened, like with the legalese and everything that happened with the contract. Because technically they did something with the rights. There was a loophole that they used. But I think what happened was like basically the Robert Jordan estate was like, okay, you know what? We don't want you on this anymore. we're gonna buy your rights by putting you or buy this back and by putting you like attaching you to the project, but you're doing nothing with it. We're gonna sell the rights to someone else to make it. And now we have Rafe Judkins writing the script. And
That sounds like a fake name.
It totally does.
My D&D character, Rafe Jenkins.
Rafe Judkins.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds like a fantasy character that somebody would play.
He's my half-elf sorcerer.
he wrote on My Worst Enemy, Chuck, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay.
So decent writing. He
How
was
much
actually a
of
head writer
Chuck
on
did he
Agents of
write,
S.H.I.E.L.D..
though?
How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck it? I think that's a better question. I don't know.
How many
I have no idea.
It's not important.
How many Tylers could a Tyler tie up if Tyler could tie up Tylers?
It's a good question. But long story short, I've been following Rafe Judkins' Twitter profile. He's like a super fan, and like literally this whole last like 6 months, 7 months since he was announced as writer, like every week he's doing like Wheel of Time Wednesdays. He's been leaking scripts, and he's just been geeking about everything. And they have castings for the main characters. Is where we're going here. The Eamon's Fielders. I don't know if anyone's actually read Wheel of Time in here.
No.
But
I've read the first
and I
one.
read-
Venture a guess if I have.
I was hoping Brooks would be able to back me up. But at least you have
No, you're on your own, buddy.
But they do have the farm boy characters, the
Farm boy.
the coming of age story characters from the very first book. They've all been cast now. So we have Egwene, we have Rand, Matt, and Perrin. They've all been
Matt and his brother Bill.
and then they also cast for Moran, the Aes Sedai. But that was news a little while back. But she is, what's her name from? Lost Girl.
You keep saying words.
Yeah. It's just a mash. of
But I
words.
suppose that this
Anyway.
I'm excited as end of this. I'm gonna cut this off pretty quick. I'm really excited.
don't have to
we
cut it
finally
off.
have some. We finally have some real news. There's actually main characters that I've been wanting to see on screen for forever. I have actually been cast. They look pretty awesome. There's been a little bit of backlash because they made them black, and everyone's like, "But white people," and then just as everything as
That's
it
the cool
goes.
thing about fantasy. It doesn't matter.
In Middle Ages, there were no black people. Shut the fuck up. You are all racist, and you know it.
Good Lord.
Black people didn't exist until they spontaneously sprung into existence when American colonials enslaved them. Is that what you think?
You see, at the moment of first contact, the slave traders struck.
It's not like, we've ever had any sort of record of black people existing in the Middle Ages. That doesn't happen. No.
Of course not, no.
That's not real.
Well, it's not like the whole of humanity can be traced back to black people. Like,
Of course not.
Listen here, fellas.
so
the whole of
ridiculous.
humanity can be traced back to a nasty ass puddle way out somewhere.
Rosamund Pike is Moran.
Okay.
And she's awesome. And she-
I'm gonna let you finish, but his Dark Designs.
I'm more excited about that. I've read those.
Way more excited about that.
Yeah.
And it looks fucking
does look
outstanding.
It does look
It's
really good.
the girl who plays X-23 in Logan. It's actually a lot of really good casting. It looks outstanding. It looks like it's going to do it justice like Golden Compass didn't.
Golden Compass was terrible, and I try not to think about it anymore.
Yeah. Now, I say that as someone who is completely unfamiliar with the source material.
I recommend giving it a read.
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
It's not
attached to it.
it's not actually it's not a super difficult read.
His Dark Materials.
Like
His Dark Materials, that's what it is.
it's definitely a fantasy. It's got, and I hate using this word because I hate the people that took this word too seriously about 5-6 years ago, and it's a little steampunk.
Okay.
It's a little steampunk, leaning more towards
little bit
dieselpunk
country.
actually. But overall, though, it's just really well written. The books are, and there's a lot going on. There's lots of interesting plot elements, and there's really some people have claimed it to be like a secular Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah, and that's
And I guess you could say that. I mean,
that's something that has intrigued me about it because while I grew up loving Chronicles of Narnia, I did not realize growing up that it was a religious thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
The lion's gone.
you got tricked.
Yeah,
The lion is Bob Marley.
It made me. The lion is Snoop. Thank you. But yeah, I feel tricked.
Yeah.
As a result.
Wait.
And so that aspect of it interested me, but also in watching The Golden Compass, there were enough intriguing elements there that made me wish I was seeing it executed better. It made me want to learn more about this world and see it done well and see it done right.
It's really
Well,
great
go
watching,
then, for there are other worlds than these.
It's really great watching movies that had or that are bad adaptations of their source material, and having not read the source material, because then you don't suffer through it.
Sure.
That's how I was
But
with.
it's
That's how I was
still
with
bad.
Dark Tower.
See, that's the approach that I take. I will never be disappointed by a movie that's based on a book unless the movie is just actually shitty.
Yeah.
Not if it butchers the source material, because I haven't read it.
And Golden Compass was not a good movie.
Did you mention the Dark Tower over there?
Yeah, it wasn't a good movie. It
was
just
a terrible
didn't personally
film.
offend me because I haven't finished all of them.
It didn't offend me because it was a poor adaptation, or it didn't follow the book enough. It offended me because it sucked. It sucked and was attached to like a beloved franchise.
Yeah.
It also had great actors. There was no reason for it to suck so
Idris
bad.
Elba was a great Roland.
And Matthew McConaughey was a good
Man in Black. Yes, he was.
Like,
Yes, he
honestly,
was.
from the 3 books that I have read of the series,
the casting was fine. It just wasn't written very well.
it felt like they weren't sure if they were going to be able to get an entire series out of it.
Yeah.
So they tried to force
We have
the
to wrap
entire
it up at
series
the
into
end
one
real
book.
quick, just in case it
movie.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
But
I fortunately have dodged that bullet. I have not watched that film yet because just the amount of screeching people.
well, you don't have to worry about that because Amazon is doing Wizard and Glass as a series.
They are.
And it's going to be really, really good.
I hope so. I mean,
better be.
I have yet to see an Amazon series where I went meh,
I'm trying to think of one that I
disliked
think is
outright or anything like that. I mean, The
guys-
Tick was extremely well done.
The Tick is so good.
It's a shame that it got canceled.
oh, it got canceled?
Oh yeah, it got canceled a
You
while.
got slam dunked in the dumpster, homie.
I think it got. Go on, Jack. Go on. I think it got 3 seasons. I think, and they're done. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is one of the best series.
I've only seen a little bit of that, but I enjoyed what I saw.
Phenomenally hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious.
Man on the High Castle is dope.
You know, I keep trying to start that.
I wasn't actually super into that show.
I love the concept of it.
I don't think that the show is done poorly. I just like the source material,
Yeah.
and it's a shorter book, so stretching that out over a bunch of seasons, it just didn't really interest me. It's like, yeah, I read the book. I know what happens.
They expand on the source material though, and they make it even. They delve deeper into the sci-fi, and it kind of goes off the rails a little bit, but I revel in it. I love it.
I enjoy that the book is more like slices of life in an alternate reality. I mean, with some of the stuff they feature in the show, the plot and like the overarching plot. But it just the way it was broken up, I was like, yeah, this is great. This is short.
In general, I really enjoy alternate reality stories like
Me
that.
too.
Anyway, like actually, interestingly, the I think it was an Insomniac game, Resistance.
Oh yeah.
Did the same kind of thing. It was like if I can't remember what their real hinging premise was, but it was essentially like if Nazis had aliens fighting for them.
So Metal Slug.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But and won the war.
Yeah,
So
Metal Slug.
There's so many stories like that, and it's just so weird how kind of like not based on reality, but like just all the crazy shit that the Nazis tried to do.
It's not far from the mark. It's basically like if the Nazis were successful in one of their occult endeavors.
Yeah, but I love those stories. They're so
they rolled
interesting.
enough 20s in a row, and then aliens, showed up. And
like Hellboy, if the Nazis actually
had
the power
actually
of
summoned a devil.
demons.
Yeah.
if you're interested, I mean, as far as reading goes, in good alternate reality stories, there's an author. His name is Harry Turtledove, and I know it sounds made up. Who writes some really cool ones? Because when I was a teenager, I read one of his books called Gunpowder Empire, and it was if the Romans had discovered the use of gunpowder.
Interesting.
And it's like lots of what ifs, because I mean, you have your really played out alternate realities, like what if the Nazis won World War II, or what if the
Man on the High Castle.
what if or what if the South won the Civil War, or lots of like of those creative for maybe at the time.
Well, but I mean, if you think about it, those are the obvious choices.
Yeah.
Because these are the, when you look back upon our history, these are the things that we can point to that were the most pivotal,
turning
fights.
points for history.
Yeah. Like if the South was fighting for slavery, if the South had won, slavery would still be going on.
Mm-hmm.
Nazis were fighting for the genocide of all non-Aryan race.
Extra bad.
Like, I mean, there are these conflicts that we've been involved in that are identifiably, just huge turning point conflicts that make sense. It's easier to base an alternate reality thing off of these big turning point moments as opposed to any smaller nuanced things, because it's something that everyone can be like, oh yeah, I can see how that would happen. Sometimes with like some of the smaller nuanced things, you start getting into like the butterfly effect, and where this microcosm thing that happens in its little bubble, if it changes,
Are we in a microcosm?
Are we in a microcosm?
We're in the microcosm where Trump won.
That specific example that you used, though, with the Romans discovering gunpowder, that's such an interesting thing to think about. That's one small variable that you change, but that has some terrifying implications.
No
Can you
kidding.
imagine if the world's most lethal fighting force was, got even more of a one-up on the rest of the world?
Yeah.
And started running around shooting barbarians instead of chopping them in half?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean,
that would be
considering
insane.
the issue with the Roman Empire was not necessarily their power; it was that they spread out really far and collapsed interiorly.
And also
But
too many
think-
little Caesars.
It might have actually been feasible if they had to invest less manpower over a wider area because
is
they had
true.
gunpowder.
That's a good
So they
point.
probably could have expanded their empire even more. That's the stuff I like to think about when we talk about these weird little changes.
Yeah, that would be very, very
I
interesting.
like to think about what if we replaced Roman warriors' swords with giant floppy pink dildos, and then we can see where that goes.
They'd probably still beat some barbarians to death with it.
Probably.
There would still be a Etruscans around.
Yeah, no, those are the Greeks.
They discovered vulcanized rubber.
Yeah, we have
first.
philosophy, we have big pink dildos, and boiling.
Welcome to the Topless Robot podcast. That should be the new tagline.
Philosophy, big pink dildos.
And
Sweet
pedophilia.
and sour barbecue sauce.
So, how has your all of your post-con week been?
Let me tell you, that was the most glorious come down on Monday.
Yeah.
Just sinking into the
Oh yeah.
my day off was just like, I'm just gonna sit on this couch and do absolutely nothing. And I'm not even gonna talk. And if someone's around, I'm not even gonna make a joke. I'm just gonna do nothing.
Yeah, Sunday coming home after I know I left a little earlier, but I went to practice for the band and then came back and sat on my couch and realized I had not sat on my couch in like 2 solid weeks. And I just sat there and I'm like, this is peace. This is the most brilliant thing I've ever experienced in my life. And I looked at the ceiling for 15 minutes And then I started playing Horizon Zero Dawn.
Nice.
Mine was a mediocre week. I hate August. It's the worst month of the year for many reasons. And I didn't get really any sleep between a couple different things, mostly the heat, waking me up over and over again.
Well, I heard August burns red, so.
Yeah, well, anyway. Yeah, last night was the first night I actually got a decent amount of sleep, and I slept for 10 hours.
Hell
Here we are,
yeah.
baby, the Topless
Yeah.
Robot Podcast.
We got
Leaving him hanging.
Spider-Dan today.
He's
You're
just gonna
leaving
leave me
Brooks hanging.
hanging.
I can't see you through the mic. I'm sorry.
That's,
Like a personal problem.
a personnel problem.
Nothing personnel, kid.
Yeah,
Teleport's behind you.
Writes pink slip. The ninja of HR.
I think you might have broken Ryan.
Oh, shut up. That was good.
See, like he's shorting out. You can see the look. Oh, sorry, that's
Just
the
like
blue
Tyler
hair.
Flex.
I was originally not even going to host Rock Band Monday because I knew I was going to be so fucking burned out from the weekend. But it was Kayla's birthday, so I had to host Rock Band Monday. But I eventually got some sleep this weekend. Yesterday was almost entirely sleep.
Nice. We all needed it.
Yeah.
I did
Yeah, we
not
did.
sleep yesterday. I woke up at 5 a.m, drove to LA, then went to the beach, then went to see Demons and Wizards, went back to my Airbnb at around 12:30, then slept till 7. This weekend has also been very tiring. And then I drove here, and here I am.
I'm sorry you had to go and have fun.
It was a lot of fun.
That actually sounds pretty reasonable
It was super
considering,
nice.
Talk to me when you've driven to LA and back for a show in one day.
I will never do that because, I have this thing called a brain, and it tells me not to try and kill myself. Sometimes.
I had to pull into a gas station and sleep in the gas station parking lot.
That was
for a
when you
little bit.
went and saw
Proto-Men and Bit Brigade, yeah.
Yeah.
Yup.
I remember.
That was an awesome show. And
Didn't you just take a day off?
I don't know, because days off and they're
why?
valuable stuff.
It's the rush of adventure, Tyler.
Yeah.
Yeah. The rush of adventure, being locked in your car for a total of 12 to 14 hours in a single day.
Exploring the brave frontier. Yes, I'll have number 3, please. The Diet Coke.
No one's ever taken this route before. I'm a trailblazer. You're
And those-
stuck behind
Here I
2
am.
hours of traffic.
At the McDonald's on the edge of forever.
My burger was cold and my fries soft.
Ronald McDonald must die.
This is my story.
I feel like there are things that happen this week that I'm forgetting about.
Well, we got that super rad Switch thing.
Oh, yeah. So if you recently bought a Switch, Nintendo will replace it with a new model Switch free of charge. And
How recent?
I don't know what their time frame is with it.
Well, the last 100 years.
Just change your period of how you're measuring your time. So be like, I bought it 500,000 minutes ago. That's like minutes. It's close enough, right?
But yeah, I haven't
my
looked
Nintendo
into-
Switch is
You want-
18 months. We're doing very well.
I haven't looked into the time frame on that.
Because I've only owned mine for a few months, and this may be an opportunity.
Not even a few months. Hasn't it only been like a month?
Yeah, you got like
Been-
last month.
No, it's been longer than that.
You sure?
Yeah.
Because you bought it in July, didn't you?
It's been like close to 2 months now. It's been over a month for
Oh,
sure.
you bought it at the beginning of July.
Oh, okay.
That was 2 months ago almost.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. The and then GameStop is doing trade-ins on the old Switch, which will make the new model cost $75.
You can switch your Switch.
Yeah. Hey, marketing.
You can choose to switch it up.
So that's nice.
You
and
can switch if you want to.
basically, you double your battery life in doing so.
I may just do that.
I'm glad that I waited.
Yeah, right. Of the four of us, you're the one who still doesn't have a Switch.
You're
Yeah.
the one, Brooks. The one.
I bought mine day one. I pre-ordered.
I got mine a couple months in.
I'm getting
buying
it.
a console on day one is always a mistake.
I always wait.
I
for
disagree.
that first little bit of time just to make
I
sure.
only ever hear about disasters that come from it. I never hear like, oh well, if you bought your console on this day one, then you probably have a fatal flaw in your hardware that is causing it to die.
It will
Right.
explode.
But they also usually do things to address that, and like the Joy-Con drift and stuff like that.
I will say
it was
that
just like
is-
no questions asked. They replaced them, and there was also originally a connection issue with the left Joy-Con as well.
That's the one I skipped. By the time I bought my Switch, that had been fixed in the new round.
Yeah.
So I don't have that issue anymore.
Meanwhile, I was experiencing none of those problems and playing the fuck out of Breath of the Wild and loving it, absolutely loving it. And they have had, since launch, a constant stream of indie games that have been hitting that system. So,
Indeed.
by the time, even before I was done with Breath of the Wild, because it's a fairly expansive game, there were a ton of other games that I wanted to play and was happy to be playing mobile. So,
Well, la-di-da.
See, my issue with buying
The room always tenses up when Brooks clears his throat. You never know what's about to happen.
what adventure are we about to go on?
I have pre-ordered the new Genesis,
Ah,
the Genesis Mini.
I was gonna pre-order it. I'll probably just ask for it for Christmas or something like that from the benevolent parents, because I want that Switch. I really do.
Oh yeah.
It's taking priority. Although, as I say this right now, my uncle is probably putting the package in the mail.
Is that a euphemism?
No, he's putting. I'm getting that Neo Geo.
Oh yeah.
So we'll have that next week. I'm
That's cool.
very excited about that.
Have a Neo Geo.
I have been very
Party like it's 1988.
eventually, I'm not going to jump on it right now, but eventually I am going to be pre-ordering the TurboGrafx 16
I
Mini as
knew
well.
you were going to say that.
Yep.
In my mind's eye.
In his mind palace.
The citadel of knowledge.
The Citadel. But yeah, I'm very stoked for the Genesis Mini. The early reviews have started to come in. No one's allowed to show more than 15 minutes of footage. But everyone has been saying that this makes up for years of shitty AT games made Genesis
Emulation.
little
Doodads.
emulators.
Does this Genesis come with or without Phil Collins?
Yeah, you.
Get him. Just blast him. Do it.
Don't seek shelter near me.
Can I do it? Can I do it?
You know what's great? He's turning red, and I haven't done anything.
He's sunburnt.
Wait. Pass it over. Dan? No! Sega does what Nintendo don't.
I can't remember if I brought it up, but it fucking cracked me up. I can't remember if I brought it up on the podcast, but I know I did in our group chat. Watching AVGN, the James and Mike
The Mondays
Mondays,
thing? Mhm.
playing Shinobi 3, and James going, "Oh man, that's some Nintendo, or that's some Genesis does shit right there." And from now on, like, that's gotta be the exclamation for something that's like really awesome. Oh yeah, that's some Genesis does shit.
That's some Genesis does shit. Sega. My first love, the Sega Genesis.
There is some news that I remember seeing that may indicate that Super Nintendo games are coming to the Switch. sooner
This-
than we thought.
This excites me.
You mean more like the
This is
6
directly-
or 8 that have been hanging out on the eShop store on the 3DS because they never update those, and it's
Yeah.
like I have all of these.
So I mean,
already.
there's those, but like with 3DS, that's all Virtual Console stuff.
Yeah.
And Virtual Console isn't a thing on the Switch technically.
Uh,
So their online component launched, and they're like, we're just going to make it a
Oh.
subscription service, start throwing NES games into it. And when they did that, they had you can buy directly from Nintendo Joy-Cons that are NES controllers. And so the way that they charge is they slide into either side, but they're full on replications of NES controllers.
Oh, hell yeah.
By design.
nice.
And
That is
you know,
awesome.
really cool.
That is so cool.
Did you not know about those?
No.
I do not either.
They're, I mean, pretty expensive, but I've been meaning to get them for a while.
I want.
So apparently, there's an FCC filing for new Super Nintendo controllers that are wireless.
Ooh.
And that, I mean, it could be for the SNES Mini, but I wouldn't think so.
No, I doubt that.
No, yeah, that's
It would make much more sense that it would be prepping for Super Nintendo games to start hitting the Wii, or the Switch. The Wii. Jesus, what generation am I in?
What year is it?
we in a time loop.
Are we in a time loop?
Are we in a time loop?
Our
We?
In.
A
time.
Loop?
All right.
a marksman.
So yeah, I'm extremely stoked for that, and especially because those come with NetPlay, so you could play multiplayer games.
Ooh, you
Online.
can play Bomberman online. Well,
Yep.
provided they have it.
Or fucking Super Mario World, play multiplayer with, any of your friends, wherever.
I could play from
play with
across the
another-
room.
See, that's nice because the most I've been able to do is run some dumb bullshit that allowed you to run SNES emulators and connect to other people.
Sure.
And though that was a nightmare to do. So if I never have to do that again, into it.
Yeah, right?
And lesson to be learned. If you want people to stop pirating your games, just give them new features and release them in easy ways that we could buy them.
Go figure. Make
Oh my
make the
God.
thing accessible.
Yeah, the reason people emulate, if not for just not having enough money to buy an old cartridge that's worth $200, is because you can't find those cartridges. They don't exist with easy access anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you just give us access, we'll buy it.
Yeah.
Charge me $10 for a digital file of Mega Man X. I'll probably pay for it. Like,
I'd pay like $7.99.
Oh, if that came out for $10, you would buy it. Bro.
You'd at least think about
I
it.
would buy Maverick Hunter X for $10.
Speaking of which,
I know, that's why I brought it up.
so since Sony has long since declared end of life on the PlayStation Vita, I no longer feel guilty about hacking the shit out of that thing. So
Ever
I
actually
did
feel guilty about that?
to a certain extent, yeah. Just because I don't want to get caught and banned because I was buying games legitimately.
Right.
So, now that it's end of life, like I'm probably not going to go digging through the PlayStation Store on my Vita anytime soon. And the hacks have gotten very, very good for the PlayStation Vita.
it's been out long enough. They better.
Yeah.
And and there are great step-by-step guides, like incredibly involved step-by-step guides.
Step by step.
Nope. What sucks though, and what holds it back, is Sony's fucking memory, because they used Memory Stick Pro Duo, or
Those weird
little
ones?
memory stick on the PSP, and then they made it even smaller. I think it's called the M2.
The small ones.
For the Vita, and it has a maximum capacity, like the largest that I've been able to find. It's like 128 gigs, something like
Bonk.
that.
Which is not a lot for some of those games.
And I mean, considering Borderlands 2 is 3 gigs, Persona 4 is 3 gigs.
Yeah.
And at 128 gigs, it's priced more than the system is. So I did find an adapter called SD to Vita, which would take a micro SD card, but it doesn't go into the memory slot. It's a game cart that has a micro SD card.
Oh, it's like an R4
slot on it. Yeah, kind
Like
of.
an R4, okay.
And which
Best
is
investment
weird
of my
on a
life.
system that has a fucking memory slot, but you have to be running custom firmware in order to use it.
Yeah, okay.
So I bought a fucking 400 gig micro SD card for $40
And now you have the entire library.
and bought this
cheap.
this card for, I think it was like $10 on Amazon. And
And now
I
the world
have
is your oyster.
Well, I have every single Nintendo game from every region on it. Every Super Nintendo, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy, Genesis.
the Game Boy Genesis.
Gotta catch them all. Nintendo.
Like every region, every game for all of those systems on here. And I still have over 233 gigs free on the thing. And that's after adding a bunch of PSP games, because they've got this thing called Adrenaline that turns the PSP subsystem that they use for loading the PSP games, the limited PSP games that they made available through the store, into a full-fledged PSP firmware that you boot into. So you go into the crossbar nav that the PSP had and everything like that, and it has access to the same memory and all that, and you just drop the images on the card, and it's fine.
Hell yeah.
So like it has become one of the most emulation-friendly systems out there, for sure.
Making better use of it than Sony did.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's really, really unfortunate.
Sony dropped the ball on the Vita real hard.
I don't know if Sony did,
I think it's
or if it was just marketing and third party.
Okay, well, I mean, that's their hardware that they're kind of responsible for making successful.
Yeah.
If they weren't pushing any third-party developers or trying to entice anyone to use it, then yeah, they fucked up.
But like it didn't take long for the Vita to become a visual novel and JRPG platform.
Who would have
Exclusively.
guessed?
So, and that's unfortunate. And
Living La Vida Loca, I guess. Yep.
I'm too tired for this.
I hate I hate visual novels. That's all I can say.
I tried.
upside,
because
inside, get out.
I tried the Metal Gear Solid one because I am a sucker for Metal Gear Solid lore.
Sure.
It's ridiculous and I love it.
It is ridiculous.
But I was running a PSP emulator on my laptop, and because that's how I was playing Maverick Hunter X, because I didn't really
Yeah.
get to play it, and it's weird. It's weird, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's like one step beyond like interactive DVD menu games.
Yeah, pretty
Exactly.
much. Pretty much.
You know, it's like, oh,
Welcome to
cool,
the
Dragon's
world of visual
Lair.
novels.
Yeah.
Visual novels are just what should be a TV show, but they didn't have the budget.
It's called storyboarding.
right.
Pretty much, yeah.
They got to the point where they were done storyboarding the show that they were trying to make, and they're like, "Well, we're out of money, so."
And these days, it's storyboarding with an excuse to get people off on anime porn.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steam. Thank you for
Yeah.
accepting these games onto the green light. That's
Yeah.
great. Thank you.
Though when the PSP Go first came out, or it may have been when the PSP first came out, there was one called Corpse Party, which there are various flavors of visual novels. Some have game-like elements where you're actually walking around in an overworld, but its primary purpose is to tell this story. There's not a lot present that could be mistaken for game mechanics. And Corpse Party is one of those. But it's a horror anime thing. And that was fucking rad. I remember really enjoying Corpse Party a lot. But aside from that, all the stereotypical ones that everyone seems to flock to and everyone seems to be making, yeah, kind of.
One of the million games with the word Sakura in the name.
Yeah, right.
Right. Card Captor Sakura.
But yeah,
Genji, Days of Sakura.
hacking the Vita has made me very happy because while there were not a lot of games that are great that were released for the Vita, there were a ton of good games for the PSP. So being able to go back and revisit things like Maverick Hunter X and being able to revisit things like Mega Man Powered Up.
Yeah,
And
that's so adorable. It's so cute.
Wipeout Pulse and Pure,
Wipeout. I love
the
you,
old
Wipeout.
Burnout games before Burnout went open world.
Before Burnout got burnt out.
There was like Burnout Dominator
Yeah.
and Burnout something else that was really good.
You had some weird ones
Burnout
on there
Paradise?
too, like all the Ape Escape games
that-
they
was
made.
that-
Burnout
for that.
Paradise was the
Ape
open
Escape
world.
was
Ape
so
Escape
good.
did come out.
I
yeah.
still have the first one.
Yep.
First Ape Escape is great.
Ape
What was the
Escape,
one
yeah.
that came out after
Wasn't-
Burnout 3? Was that Burnout 3?
Was it Paradise?
I think Paradise was the
most
next
recent one?
mainline one. Yeah, the ones on Vita or on PSP were post Burnout 3, but were not
I thought there
released
was
on
one in
other
be-
systems.
I thought there was one in between.
Also,
Burnout
you
3 and
got
Burnout 3.
you have got Castlevania, Dracula X
yes,
collection.
that is one that I
so
was
you
just
get like
recently
the
playing.
you get the real one instead of that terrible port on the SNES.
Yeah, well, and this is a remastered 2.5D
Yeah,
version,
so
which
it's-
is really solid, and contains within it Symphony of the Night.
Yes, it does.
Didn't the PSP also have a pretty good Diablo-like? Wasn't it called Untold Legends or something like
yep.
that?
Yeah.
That game was pretty rad. PSP had a good library.
PSP really did have a good
You also
library.
had some Sonic racing games that made sense. like,
graphics were really good too. Like it just felt like a powerful system. Like
Yeah.
the PSP.
I think that they did a really solid job with the PSP, and even solid job in the hardware iterations, because the PSP Go was a smart design choice.
I've always been impressed when Sony tries to do something handheld. It's just not successful enough for them to really invest in the market, and it's kind of a bummer.
it was
Yeah.
cool. It was cool that it had that cross.
Yeah, Nintendo monopolizes.
that, cross-platform stuff you could do with your PS3.
Yeah,
Because my Brent was doing that all the time when we were living together. He's just like, "Here, check it out. Look, I can do this." I'm like, my DS can play games. Look,
I
it's
love
got a
that
calculator.
I love that my Vita can still do remote play with my PS4.
Mm-hmm.
Brent, does your PSP have PictoChat? I didn't think so.
Take that.
Hey, don't talk mean about PictoChat. That shit was fun.
My console has 2 screens.
2 screens are better than 1. It's simple math.
Actually, he also had a DS.
Yeah, it's a shame, and I hope that Sony doesn't abandon handheld because of the way that the Vita went.
I think that they
I
might.
hope that they learn from their lessons and learn by watching Nintendo
I hope
and
they take
do
some time.
something better.
I hope they take some time and in a couple of years, be like, oh, by the way,
Yeah, right.
here's a brand new handheld that's got lots of third-party support and it doesn't have hardware issues and it's easy to get and the games are cheap and they hold a lot of memory.
And we don't have proprietary memory cards that you're forced to buy.
Yeah.
and the economy's fixed and there's insurance and healthcare for everyone.
That's just starting to sound unfeasible.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I thought it started to sound unfeasible at the beginning of that.
I just wonder how much of a fault it really is. I mean, Sony obviously didn't market as well, and it wasn't those aren't perfect systems. But is it how much more of it is it more of a demographic kind of thing, and just how much Nintendo has cornered the market with handhelds? It just seems like it's been very difficult. Like there have been really good handheld, like the Shield, and obviously the Vita is well loved by people who have them.
The Leapster.
But it seems like the demographic for that is very different than what
Yeah,
the DS is.
the
aiming
big-
for.
Taking the lion's share of the mobile market away from Nintendo is going to be a daunting task for anybody.
Especially at this point.
Yeah.
However, the big thing that has made all of those things fail is games.
Yeah.
Yeah, those games typically aren't great.
You
The
need things to
PSP,
play.
I wouldn't consider the PSP a failure because the PSP had great games, sold well. It was
If the
I
PSP
knew
was a
people-
failure, they never would have made the Vita.
yeah, right.
I knew people that had PSPs.
Yeah.
It's not like it's one of those things where some weird kid down the street you grew up with had a 3DO or something like
Right.
that.
And I mean, or a fucking Jaguar, God
Right.
forbid. They're
Where did you learn to fly? Neil?
Yeah, the Jaguar sends chills down my spine when I hear about it.
Where did you learn
It's
to
like
fly?
it's like speaking the true name of a cursed entity.
The big mistake that they made with the
1,000 little brothers all
PSP,
cried out in unison and were silenced.
the big mistake that they made with the PSP was the UMD media format.
Yeah, that was.
But flash memory was not as inexpensive then as it is today.
Yeah.
And for the sizes of games that they were aiming to do, having it be on a mini DVD format made more sense. And so I understand that decision. Like, the fucking size of DS carts, they're like 2 megs tops.
I needed something to listen to my extensive mini disc library.
But the big thing that has held them back everything that you listed has and always will be games. The NVIDIA Shield, great in theory, and great if you're willing to put the time into it, but not marketable because it's just an Android tablet. That's it. That's all it has going for it. And when people, especially gamers, who are going to be the people buying these things, are told it's an Android tablet, we still have it in our head that Android's for babies who aren't playing real games.
Hard to rise up when you're playing on Android.
Thank you.
You don't say that anymore.
Oh, my poor phone. You got it all wet.
Oh, sorry.
Got my phone wet.
Whatever, his phone's water resistant.
Dan, take this phone.
I'm the only one responsible enough to hold this because I don't abuse the power. This
Coursing through my veins.
This spray bottle is a terrifying tool.
Toss it into the fire.
No.
Wear it around my neck on a chain. Wear it around my neck on a chain. Oh my god.
But yeah, I think if ever is a time, for a handheld to do extremely well, it's now. And because things are shrinking down so much, I mean, we see the power that the Switch is capable of. The Vita was surprisingly underpowered, despite the fact that it had Borderlands 2 on it. Borderlands 2 played like fucking hot garbage on that system. Just disgustingly chunky.
HAWT.
But we've got the Switch now with fucking Doom on it and Wolfenstein and shit like that.
When you say that out of context, it doesn't sound that
Yeah,
impressive.
yeah.
Right. When you're not thinking about specific eras.
My TI 8086 can run Doom.
It has Microsoft's mobile or handheld solution is leaked, which looks like two sides of a very stylishly modified Xbox controller that
It just got one
sandwich a phone in between.
The way you were holding your hand out like this, I was just expecting it to be like
It's
an
this
Xbox
big.
size. Like, it's just it's just an Xbox with controllers.
It's
glued to the
basically
side.
meant to plug in onto either side of a phone, and specifically for playing Xbox Cloud shit.
Consider me disinterested.
Yeah, I don't really care. But I haven't really cared about Xbox since I had an Xbox.
Yeah,
I
I
have it
enjoy
at
my
parents'
Xbox
house.
One, but I don't play it as often as other things.
I'm a PC gamer.
PC Master Race.
And the recently released or leaked specs for the GPU in the PS4 are suggesting that it is going to be the first home console that will be more powerful than home PC gaming.
You mean the PS5?
Ooh.
Or PS5, yes.
Okay, I was like, that's a little confused.
My brain is, what year is it?
Until all of us genius PC gamers spend $2,000 on a graphics card.
Yeah, right.
That'll be outdated next
Checkmate,
week.
loser.
Well, the specs of their video card are, and this is first iteration for PS5. Keep in mind that they're probably going to bump everything up 2 years in. Are put it equivalent to a video card that you could spend $600 buying today.
Okay.
Wow.
So, about the equivalent of the power of my current PC.
But will it run Crysis?
Oh, shut up.
Lord. We've moved past that
No, Brooks,
benchmark.
it
Thank
will
you.
run Crysis 2.
Oh my god! It's eating her. This gonna eat me. Oh no!
Come on, it's Troll 2.
Yeah.
It's Doug.
Even I understand that reference.
No, I was. God damn.
Victory is mine. I made a admittedly
Please
terrible
spray
horror
him
movie.
for declaring victory, please. He's not allowed to celebrate.
This. Okay, not that.
Blast him!
Do it. Do it.
Let the power of the dark side flow through. Oh.
What have I done?
Strike him down with all your hatred, and soon your journey to the dark side will do it.
So I'm going to do something that I don't often do. I'm going to engage with Tyler in a. I'm going to.
Finally
Are we doing
asking.
trust falls?
I thought we were going to have a Topless Robot makeout set.
I'm going.
proposed to.
I'm going to prompt
The answer's
Tyler
yes.
to talk about something.
Oh, ooh.
Oh, are we going on a bathroom break now? Is that it?
So No Man's Sky Beyond came out this week.
Yes, I saw it. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. I've
Okay,
not had a
that
chance.
was the end of that.
That's the
It
end.
ended poorly.
Cool. Next segment.
That came out on Thursday, I think.
No, it came out on Tuesday.
Was it Tuesday? Okay.
Well, Tuesday or Wednesday.
Well,
yeah.
I had no. No, it was Wednesday. I had band practice Wednesday, and then Thursday I was dead. What happened on Thursday? I was dead. Yeah.
Why didn't you stay that way?
Because like most undead things, I come back to inconvenience others.
Fair. So, what have all of you been playing this week?
I revisited Hyper Light Drifter again.
That is such a good game.
It's-
Oh, that's right. And
Yeah.
we were talking about before the podcast, Hyper Light Drifter and Mutant Year Zero
Yeah.
are
Who published Hyper
free.
Light Drifter?
What?
Who published Hyper Light Drifter? Who published it?
Heart Machine.
Heart Machine? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I it's one of those games that like could be Devolver if you don't know any better.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you were about to make fun of me.
Yeah,
because
I know.
I
I was
bet
too. I was
slipped
like,
up or
what joke?
something because you're like laughing. You know.
I actually didn't know, and I assumed it was Devolver.
Yeah, no, it was Heart Machine.
Well, it's,
Okay.
it's free now, so get it.
yeah,
I mean, I already have it.
Get it
I've
again.
beaten the shit out of that
Yeah,
game.
I love that game.
free
so much.
on the Epic Store, Hyper Light Drifter and Mutant Year Zero. But go on, sorry.
Oh yeah, I've been playing that.
Such a good game. I kickstarted that back when.
Yeah.
They had it on Kickstarter.
I know there was a limited edition SNES cart
Oh, really?
version of that floating around somewhere.
That's awesome.
What
It's
is
like that. It's like that blue color, the main guy.
Yeah.
So
what is your chosen fighting style on Hyper Light Drifter, Brooks? What's your preference?
not dying.
Lame.
No, I like to. I'm pretty aggressive with it as far as. Are you looking? What are you? Am I the gun person or am I?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different power ups you can buy. You can change
Oh,
around
right,
your
right,
dashing
right,
style.
right.
Like for example, I do whatever I can in any game to cut everything in half in a single blow. So I use
just
the
got
charge
that.
swing constantly.
I just got that. Essential equipment for me is I need to be able to deflect projectiles, which I use.
Oh yeah, it's so useful.
Yeah, you have that and the 3 dash, or the not 3 dash, but the chain.
Yeah, the chain
dashing.
dash.
Yeah,
And you slam yourself into a wall and fall over.
yes, I have. The first time I did it, and the 38th time I did it. And then apart from that, I played a little more. I played a little bit more Snatcher this week, just because I love that game so much.
Yeah.
Did you beat Katana Zero yet?
No, I've been giving that a break.
You need to finish
Your
that game.
computer has been giving that a break.
Yeah, I'm planning on finishing that probably this coming week. I've just been kind of busy.
The later you get into that game, the crazier the story gets, and it's so good.
Yeah, it's. I have reached a point where things are beginning to go a little nuts. So
Yeah, and it's only gonna get crazier.
I assume so.
It's such a good game. I still need to beat it. How about you, Dan?
Didn't get to play much, but I did start playing Fire Emblem finally.
Yep.
Oh.
And we got a good
Muad'Dib.
six episodes out of that
Yeah,
session.
and most of the episodes felt more like Fire Emblem Talking Simulator than they did Fire Emblem Three Houses, but
Yeah, we got out of 6 episodes, 3 battles, I think.
maybe. But the taste of combat that I've gotten so far is actually pretty good. I don't have a whole lot to complain about yet, which is nice.
The refreshing,
Running around the monastery and just like doing fetch quests is kind of boring, but nothing about it has been super offensive. I'm sure something will be offensive at some point. I know there are tea parties. I'm going to do whatever I can to not
Fuck
have
yeah.
tea parties.
No, dude, go to the tea
I
party.
just want to see Dan at a tea party. Just
do whatever you can for XP.
Well, so that's the thing. This is something I have to bring up is your professor level does go up when you do tasks around the monastery, which increases the amount of things you can do each time, which give you more experience and make your unit stronger. So you really do have to do some dumb grinding where every time you fish, it's a rhythm mini game, and every fish you catch is worth experience. So every month or every week that I go in, I have to find a bunch of bait and fish so I can maximize my experience gains. And I don't enjoy the fishing. That is my big complaint so far.
Fishing,
It is really simple.
fishing
Yeah.
and tea parties. It just sounds like you're living a fantasy life.
Right? Yeah.
This
it's the
sounds
life-
like your game.
the life I want to live. I don't want to cut entire armies in half or anything. No,
No.
I just want to run around the monastery and flirt with cute anime boys.
The fishing is, you guys remember the game, the DS game Elite Beat Agents?
Yeah, that
It is-
game rules.
It is Elite Beat Agents. The circle coming down in, you have to hit it at the right time. Yeah.
At least it's not as bad as the fishing in Sonic Adventure. That was
Nothing is as bad
Oh,
as that.
God.
And Ryan and I have also found the unit that we're going to be giving the most love towards.
Absolutely.
It's just this hulking dude named Raphael who only talks about eating and lifting bags of rocks to be strong.
He's awesome.
So far,
Awesome.
So far, I have him pegged again as the unit that is most likely to cut someone in half in a single blow.
and he makes a really nice chamomile.
Yes, I'm sure he does.
And our first episode of that is going to be coming out today. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you can find that on our YouTube channel. Or if you're watching us on Facebook, you can find it there as well.
And in the future, we're going to have a guest on who's never been on any Topless Robot stuff before. She is a huge fan of Fire Emblem, so we'll have some fresh conversations.
Who could it be?
You'll find out.
Maybe you won't be stuck in a time loop for the first time. Topless Robot. Or maybe you will be. Who knows?
How about you, Tyler?
It may not be
I
the right
actually-
time.
Because I've been super ADD with gaming lately. I picked up Horizon Zero Dawn again. Because I was sitting on my couch, not wanting to go to my, as I mentioned before, not wanting to go and do anything. I was on my couch for the first time in weeks. So I sat down and I looked at my shelf, and my eye was drawn to my copy of Horizon Zero Dawn. I was like, oh, I haven't beaten
I mean, that's a
that.
cool game. So
Yeah, it is a pretty great game.
So I sat down and played that a whole bunch, and immediately remembered why I fucking love that game. It's
Yeah.
so good. Every aspect of that game is just enjoyable as fuck. As far as this is,
laser cyber dinosaur fights.
it's so good. It's so good. Nah, stop it.
Yeah, it is super rad.
Yeah,
Extremely good
Playing a
game.
whole bunch of that, and then yeah. Besides that, this was another really busy week. Next week is finally not busy, so I'm gonna play some.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything going on this coming week. I don't have any appointments or anything. I'm just gonna settle in and play some Katana Zero.
I'm sure I have a lot of things that I'm forgetting that I have to do. But I have been playing Metroid Fusion because I picked up that
yeah,
Game Boy
yeah,
Advance SP at Game On. I picked up Metroid Fusion and Metroid Zero Mission and Mario Kart Super Circuit and Kirby Pinball.
I loved it, man. You bought that thing, and we were sitting at the booth, and you were like a gleeful little child. It's like, I just want to play my Game Boy.
It's so great.
People were coming
Go
up
away.
to talk
We're-
to you. You're just like,
We're a podcast. Go away.
You want a sticker? Hey, spray him in the face. Do things.
Okay, cool. There you go.
And since I hacked my Vita, I started playing Link's Awakening because I never played the original Link's
Oh,
Awakening.
well,
Or
what do you-
I've started it several times. I don't think I've ever beaten.
Well,
Link's
what do you
Awakening.
think?
I like it. Yeah. But I've
It's a
been
cute
playing
game.
Link's Awakening DX, so the Game Boy Color version. Yeah.
That's what I have on my 3DS.
And I have also been playing Blazing Chrome because I bought that.
Oh, I fucking love that game.
I bought it on Switch, and it's just such a good fucking game.
I must finish it.
Blazing Chrome is masterfully crafted.
I have one more level. Did I beat the boss on that third level?
The Spider Boss?
Okay, it was a spider. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. With the weird
Yep,
the
yeah.
legs.
that spider boss was sick.
Oh yeah, with the weird dancey robot afterwards. Yeah.
Yep.
I think you ended up beating that one.
Yeah, I just have the last the.
Yep.
I assume it's the last level.
Well, until it reveals more.
Da-da-da, and then there's like coming fall of 2019 or something.
Yeah,
like
right.
that.
But wait, there's
No,
more.
they've got that Shinobi game that we need to play.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
I have.
What's
I
that,
can't.
I'm gonna be practicing. I'm gonna be playing Shinobi 3 again, and I'm gonna be so good.
Remember how Contra did not prepare you for Blazing Chrome?
Yeah, but I also hadn't played Contra in a while.
Joy
So-
Masher.
Yeah, Joy Masher is the name of the company. That's right.
Joy Masher.
I think have we ever actually talked about
They're
it on the
from
podcast?
Yeah.
Brazil.
Yeah.
Brazil.
Ponytail.
They're fantastic. I
Yeah.
love that game.
Yeah,
I like
we
what
talked
they're-
we talked about them a lot during the Blazing Chrome
Yeah.
videos. So
Obviously, another playthrough I highly recommend people check out.
it's a lot of fun, and I die a lot.
Also, buy that game. Support these
Yeah,
people.
for real.
Yeah,
this
no
game
kidding.
rules.
No kidding, because that one really flew under the radar. And
It's the best Contra game ever.
Yeah.
I was so shocked. I heard nothing about it. That Ryan just dropped that one on me. I was just like, how the fuck have I not seen this before?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's fucking rad.
well, it's,
Brilliant. Even if I suck massive balls at that game, I am not.
I haven't had to like knuckle down in a video game, so playing a video game in a long time, like with
He
something
had
that
to lean
Yeah.
forward in his chair and everything.
Turned his hat sideways.
like I felt like a teenager again.
Time to get serious.
Time to get cereal.
All right. On that note, we have come to the end of the podcast.
will
Thank
not
you,
go.
Turn the lights off.
Carrie.
Tyler, go home.
Thank you, everyone, for watching and/or listening. We'll see you next week.
Bye bye.
Luke, it says I'm locked out of my account again. Subscribe.